Hello, everyone. Welcome to Talking Logistics, where we have conversations with thought leaders and newsmakers in the supply chain logistics industry. It's my great pleasure to welcome today's program, Mike Meier, who's president at Venture Global Solutions. And Mike is joining us today in our latest installment of Profiles in Yard Management Excellence, where we highlight companies that are driving continuous improvement and innovation in their yard management operations. So it's great to welcome Michael to the program to kind of share his story and kind of his lessons learned there at his company. Mike, thanks for joining us.
Yeah, thanks for having me today. Look forward to the discussion.
Great, Mike. Well, before we dive into the topic and learn more about yard management there at your company, why don't you, for folks that may not be familiar with the company, why don't you tell us a little bit about, Venture Global Solutions and, your current role and responsibilities there?
Yeah, absolutely. Today we are a 3PL arm of the Venture Logistics parent organization, which is below that is Schwartz Partners. We have three divisions within Venture. We have our asset division, which has about 1,000 trucks, about 4,000 trailers. We have a brokerage division in Grand Rapids, which is named TransCore National Logistics. And then we have Venture Global Solutions that kind of brings the three entities together to provide solutions to our customers or potential customers. Our main focus is inbound optimization from an automotive tier 1 perspective. We also have a non-automotive solution that we utilize another TMS called 3G TMS. But today that's our focus, and I've been with the organization about 3 years now.
Great. So let's to get started. Tell us a little bit about yard management there at the company. Particularly before you implemented your current solution. I mean, what were some of the business challenges or opportunities for improvement that you were kind of facing that led you to look for a solution?
Well, from our yard management perspective on the venture side, it wasn't a requirement. We operate our fleet today on TMW. What drove us to look at a new solution was our largest customer, Subaru. They were operating off of a system that they had in-house that they had deployed. With their significant growth and new lines that they're putting in Lafayette, and the growth of, we were managing approximately 100 trailers, we grew to about 1,000 trailers. So from a yard management perspective, that solution was not able to give us the robustness and flexibility to provide a solution to our customer that was needed. And we had to look at alternatives, and in a prior life we had done some YMS vetting process, and Pink was working with Matt and his team. Pink was a solution that stood out to us and has been a great asset to our organization as well as our customer.
Yeah, in talking to other, companies, it seems that a common thread seems to be, reaching a point where the scale of the operation gets to a point where kind of working with, clipboards and spreadsheets just doesn't cut it anymore. It sounds like, with the rapid growth of that customer that you were talking about, pretty significant growth there, you kind of needed to find something to, more efficiently manage that growth.
Absolutely. When trailers are getting pulled at the speed that was happening, by the time you did a yard check for 1,000 trailers, by the time you got to the one end, the whole yard had changed. So we needed a very flexible, robust system that would give us visualization and give us the KPIs and tracking and know exactly what parts and what containers were in which location, and we're able to stay on top of that and manage the business appropriately.
Yeah, I was going to ask, what were some of the key capabilities that you were looking for in a solution? So it sounded like, visibility, what was one aspect, of it. Anything, changed with regards to, or anything you were looking for with regards to the way, drivers or trailers were checked in and out of the yard?
Yeah, it was a manual system prior to what we were doing. So we put gate readers in at all our gates. We've integrated it with our fleet system a lot. From the inbound perspective, 98% of the inbound trailers coming in comes on our fleet of our trucks. So we were able to integrate the TMW solution with the Ping system, so we could get reads in and ping that as they're coming into the dock and coming into the yard. And then we're in the process of rolling it out internally inside the plant as well to feed it out on the returnable side.
Great. Now, you mentioned that you had some familiarity with Pink in kind of a previous, previous role. Did you go through a formal evaluation process, or did you know that Pink was based on that past experience? Were they the only folks that you looked at?
They were the only folks we looked at in the solution. Like I said, in the past life, we went through a whole vetting process with them. We went to one of their other automotive clients and did a go see event at their location. Talked with all their in-plant operations folks. We went into the yard, reviewed how that process was working on the inbound and the outbound side, and everything was very positive. The scale of that organization was about the size that we were looking at, and from a cutting edge technology side, we felt they met everything we needed to do to be successful in the project, which we had been.
Yeah, I always recommend, whether it's a yard management system or a transportation management system or any enterprise system for that matter, regardless of what the evaluation process that you take is, that there's nothing that replaces the ability to go see with your own eyes, someone that kind of has similar operations as yours, kind of utilizing that solution in an operational environment, so that you can, again, see it in action, if you will, that goes beyond kind of the PowerPoint or beyond kind of what you might see on a vendor's website, or even just a controlled demo. I think when you see it in a live operation, that kind of tells you a lot. Yeah,
I agree. I mean, you can't, to me, right? A lot of folks can get through the vaporware or the PowerPointware, as I call it. But if you're to me, you got to go in and see a true operation that's going to match what you need. And if it passes that test, then it's a go. And everything from a customer service perspective. Obviously people like to do business with people they like as well, and they see that those chemistries are there. And the Pink team and the Venture Global Solutions team have worked really well together in this deployment.
So how did you go about implementing the solution? Is this at just one particular facility? Is it at multiple facilities? And who was involved in kind of the implementation process?
Well, we knew, my whole career, I've spent a lot of time in the technology field, so we knew we needed to assign a dedicated resource to the project, which we did. So we had an individual named Mike that was instrumental to the project. And Mike since has relocated to Lafayette on site at the customer. So he is the super user, as well as now leading the yard operation as our second shift leader in Lafayette. So assigning a project leader to it, putting a good plan together with the Pink team, and then for us putting the energy into it to ensuring that we didn't turn it over to them. We had to have vested interest into the project to make it successful as well too. The customer gave us a lot of support as well. They felt it was going to be a huge improvement for them, so they saw a lot of value. So they put team members on it. We did, as well as the Pink team.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's a key point. I mean, a lot of times, some companies make the mistake when they're implementing any kind of solution that, once they've done the evaluation process, they say, okay, Mr. Vendor, go ahead and implement. And, unless you invest the resources, the project management capabilities, because at the end of because at the end of the day, you're going to own this solution, and you're going to be able to, you have to be able to get the value from it. If you don't invest up front, the resources and the time, it's going to be much harder after the implementation goes live.
Yeah, I've been part of on both sides of technology implementations that were very successful and ones that haven't gone well, right? And the ones that don't go well, there's always one key common thread to it is the customer is not vested into it, or one of the partners are not vested into it. If they're not, it's not going to work. And we knew that, and we invested into it. And we see it even on the outside of technology. If the customer or the vendor, right, aren't bought into it, and there's not a project leader on both sides, any implementation you go through, whether it's operation or technology, it's tough.
Right. Now, it sounded like there was some integration that was required, or that you were looking for as part of, you integrated this with TMW, it sounds like. How long did the whole effort, take to kind of get it up and running?
We're still working through it. I mean, some of the drone piece of the drone, we're still tweaking things. We're integrating, right? As we keep getting into it, we learn enhancements that we want. I don't know the exact day we went live, but I would say it's been a course of about 6 months. And it's still going, right? And not that we're not live yet, we're getting everything we need out of it. It's just as the team members are getting more involved in the project and learning the system more, there's certain things that we wanted to turn on or enhance. We've integrated it with our automotive TMS system, ALS. So that's been done to feed data in and out of it. So we see route plans of when it was supposed to pick up, when it was supposed to leave, those types of things. So to me, it's never done, right? There's always improvement, right? As soon as technology, you say we're done with it and you allow it to become stagnant, it's old then, right? So we got to keep improving it and getting the best use out of it day in and day out.
Right. Now you mentioned drones. Are you currently using the pink drones as part of the kind of the yard management, locating the vehicles, or is that something you're experimenting with right now?
It's going to be part of it. We've had to turn some things off just based on the laws and regulations to it. So Kevin, still owes me some information on it from the pink team to get that and get it fully rolled out. But that's our plan, is to utilize it for our offsite facilities where we don't have tractors or yard trucks over there to do the reads out there for us. So that's how we're going to utilize it, as well as give us good yard checks when make sure we're getting 100% reads in the yard today at our customer location.
Yeah, no, that's great. I mean, I know this, I follow this market pretty broadly, and there's a lot of, focus and hype on using drones for, final mile delivery. But in reality, where there's a lot of activity and a good business case is actually, within a yard or even within a warehouse. And I think that's where, I think more stories are coming out, with those kind of case studies. But I think, kind of the last mile delivery, or, having a drone deliver a package to your front door kind of gets kind of the sexiness factor. But the reality is that, using, drones in the yard is actually where the early success stories seem to be at.
Well, it gives you a good visual, right? It gives you the read. It's constantly, reading it. Anytime you're taking the manpower out, it's doing the work that us as individuals can do. Frankly, it's taking the work out of folks that work that we don't want to do, right? Of going out and doing yard checks and doing the reads, as well as spotter trucks can do that as well too. But where we don't have, yard trucks moving around the yard, that gives us that ability now to do that. I just had a discussion with a gentleman that does, in the industrial engineering side, doing surveys. Drones are becoming a big part of that, right? Because they can do all the reads and they can do the laser reads all through across it, right? So I think it's going to happen, right? And people just need to accept that, because that's just where our country and in the industry and our world's coming to.
Right. So, what have been some of the benefits achieved to date, and kind of any unexpected benefits?
I wouldn't say unexpected. I mean, we had it pretty clearly outlined of what we needed to do. We've been able to reduce our trailers in the yard because we're able to know exactly where trailers are at. So it's allowing us to reduce our trailer fleet inside the yard. It's given us the visualization, allowing us to know exactly where the parts and the trailers are at. It's a good management tool. So we've gotten the visual. We can see our trailers, exactly what's moving and where they're at. It's given us the ability to do good assessments on our yard drivers and our tractors and our equipment, right? So that's kind of one of as we do our outlook now for 2018 and working with our customer, we're looking at utilizing the data to reduce possibly some drivers and tractors inside the yard and get more efficient, because we can push and read those types of things. So, the KPIs, the metrics, everything that we put in place on the business case we've achieved. Now that's, like I said, it's the next step of taking it to the next level in 2018, looking through budget and financial planning for the year.
Yeah, no, that's great. I think that's another common link that I see when I talk to companies, is really the strong link between yard management and business intelligence and analytics. It's really now that you've moved away. When companies move away from clipboards and these more manual types of gathering information, now they've got much more valuable insights into their operations, where they can continue to drive continuous improvement and additional savings. Is kind of where I see it.
Yeah, it's giving you the data to manage your business. It's versus on, making business decisions. I'm a big believer in that. Everything you can do, whether it's baseball or statistics, right? Data doesn't lie. And now we have that data that's been captured to know what is our moves per hour, what types of efficiencies work, what individuals are lacking and not meeting the averages, and why, and using that data to drive our business and make business decisions.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Well, Mike, we're running short on time here, so I'm just going to go right to my last question here. As a way to wrap up, I mean, what words of advice or recommendations would you give to other companies, that maybe just getting started on their journey of evaluating, selecting, and implementing a yard management solution?
I think the first one is involving the entire team, whether that be the yard drivers, the associates on the floor, as well as the leadership, and if your customer is involved, including that customer end of it. But clearly outlining what do you want to get out of it, what are you looking to do, and then based on that, writing your RFI or RFQ for the product. Once you've done that, when you're going through your selection process, we've covered it already, right? Go and see. Don't go off of a PowerPoint or demos and those types of things. Ensuring you go to see a customer that's identical to you or very close to your industry or volume size of what your yard looks like and the types of business that you're running today. And then ensuring that if you're going to invest in the technology, ensure that you invest the people and the resources to build a good plan for it, as well as take it all the way through and through the execution of it. And once that's done, usually, right, encompass that person into the operation, because we've seen that as a good success factor for us as well.
Yeah, no, all great words of advice there. So, Mike, again, thank you for making the time to be with us today, and congratulations on your success to date with your yard management operations, and certainly, wish you continued success moving forward.
Yeah, great. Thanks for having me. Appreciate it.
Great. I want to thank those of you that joined us. If you are watching this episode on demand, either at the Ping Solutions website or on Talking Logistics, and you've got a question or a comment for Mike, you can post it there, and I'm sure he'll be more than happy to respond via that medium. Again, thank you all for joining us, and look forward to seeing you in a future episode of Talking Logistics. Have a great day.